7 of the 10 world's oldest presidents are in Africa. This one right here is 92 years old and he has been ruling for 43 years. Besides being really old and a tendency to cling to power for a little too long, what else do African leaders have in common? Why does it seem so hard for the average African president to build the institutions that will genuinely make their country better? Well, let's find out. The average age for an African head of state is 66.7 years old, significantly higher than the world average of 63. And this is important because they govern the youngest population on earth. Nope. This doesn't mean old people should not rule, but it does mean that there's a higher chance that their instincts, their priorities, and most importantly, their life experiences were shaped by a very, very different version of Africa from the one we have today. And let's not forget, there's always a coup around the corner. So biologically, the body and the mind of the average African head of state is getting weaker, which increases the threat to his life and his position. Oh, but Imisiolua, that's why presidents have advisors and ministers. I bet. Let's take a look at the social environment then. Now, Africans know you don't just become a president because you had the best policies. A huge shock of the job is in building and keeping coalitions with important military figures, political elites, whole constituencies. So once you get into power, you tend to surround yourself with people that you trust and the ones that you owe. And unfortunately, this doesn't always mean the most competent person for the job. Now, the survival of these people becomes your survival and vice versa. Now, to sprinkle a little bit of Maggi on top, you see leaders in neighboring countries rewrite constitutions, delay elections just to stay in power for a little longer. And over time, what you have is a government that feels more like a survival network that just happens to attend to the needs of the public every once in a while. And you live in that sort of environment long enough and it begins to change your psychology from how do I build this country to how do I survive long enough to build anything. This then makes you hypervigilant because you fear losing control. And so giving up power starts to feel a lot more dangerous than holding on to it. That clinging to power often comes off as ambition or greed or corruption. But many times from the inside, I suspect it looks a lot more like survival. I am not saying corruption doesn't exist or that these leaders always have good intentions. All I am saying is many African political systems make letting go of power feel a lot more dangerous than holding on to it. And if all we do is call these leaders greedy, then we miss the systems responsible for producing them. Say Anjima.